Find out how to clear 2 7 night of old dungeons quickly.
7k dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be checking out Melia and Gelidus' special dungeon. And also just to add, I've been included into the 7 night streamer content creators group. So in subsequent videos, you guys will be seeing that the videos are supported by Netmarble 7 Nights, and I've placed that in the corner, so hopefully that will qualify the video. And just to show you guys, I don't think I need to go through Melia and Gelidus' skill set, but just to say, Melia does have silence and also blind, so that's two statuses you want to look out for. For Gelidus, he has freeze and only freeze. Of course, both of them have buff duration reduction if I'm not wrong, so those are also things you want to keep in mind when you are applying your buffs. Gelidus does have his new skill set, okay, so he will do a lot more damage because this is a PvE setting, if I'm not wrong. For Velika, I've given her double crit, double HP, physical attack increase, magic attack increase, increased awakening gauge, and also crit and lethal damage increase. You will see that the accessory here I'm using a crit rate one, but this is just a very basic build for most players because I do have, of course, a Berserker ring with the increased damage done on universal accessory. Okay, this one. So this one is of course the most optimal. It will let you kill very quickly. However, you don't really need it, as I will show you guys later. Okay, so you can go with a very basic build, and I'm sure most players should be able to do this dungeon without too much difficulty because it's not like the first time they appeared. Okay, this dungeon is relatively easier. You'll take note that I have also the traits, lethal rate trait. Okay, burn resist and stun resist not important because I'm really low on topaz, okay, as you can see. So I can't afford to keep changing my traits for the dungeon. And these are her fighters, so I do have the increased damage on universal by 20%. Now if you do not have that, it's totally fine as well because I think damage wise Velika should be able to kill Melia very easily. Okay, and then we also have Fenrir. Fenrir is on his PvP build, so you don't have to worry too much about that. My Rachel's on a block build. For Rachel, you need to give her very defensive gears so that she survives. Actually, you know, after she uses the first skill, if she dies, it's okay because she revives anyway. For Seek, make sure he has very high counter, and in fact, I don't think you even need Seek, okay? For Sylvia, she needs HP, she needs to survive. I also given her a HP accessory to increase her HP, so Sylvia just needs to survive. We'll proceed with the first run for Melia's dungeon, okay? For Melia's dungeon, it's very standard. I use Phoenix first, then I buff Velika's single target, and I buff Fenrir I used Fenrir's top skill to buff Velika. The top skill basically increases crit damage and lethal damage for Velika and also inflicts the block nullification, so your enemy Melia will not be able to block your damage, which is really good. Make sure though that you use the Velika top skill first because it is a 12 turn buff compared to the Fenrir buff, which is 6 turns. Furthermore, Melia can perform turn reduction with using this skill. Okay, so if she uses this skill first, of course the most ideal because it won't interrupt and reduce your buff. But if she uses this second, like in my case, it's also fine because using Fenrir's buff as the third skill will prevent any more reductions. Okay, from there on you can actually use Velika's bottom skill, and you will see how much damage that does. The reason why you need to use Fenrir's top skill is so that the damage will be sufficient. I've tried it without using the top skill from Fenrir, and Velika actually does 1 million lesser damage, okay, and she cannot one hit kill Melia. So if you can achieve this, of course that's the best situation. And as you can see, I did not even need to rely on the counter from Seek to cool down any skill for Velika. However, if your Velika is not, you know, well geared enough to take on the dungeon, then Seek will come in very handy to cool down your skills. But even if you don't have Seek, you can use Rachel's bottom skill to cool down Velika's skills to launch attacks much faster. Okay, so that is something to take note. You don't even need Seek over there. So if you don't use Seek, what can you use? You can use someone like Lina, you can use someone like Freya. Okay, for this case, for Gelidus dungeon, I'm using the same team. However, because he has freeze, you can actually use 5. Yeah, you can use fire, but if you don't have fire, it's totally fine because fire actually prevents your whole team from being frozen, right? But if you don't have fire, you can bring Lania. Lania is actually the most easy to access freeze resist hero, freeze immunity hero in fact. She gives freeze immunity for 6 turns, okay? So within these 6 turns you have to clear Gelidus, otherwise you may be in big trouble, but I think it's totally doable because as I said, the dungeon is not as difficult as the first time they have appeared. So with this team we are going ahead, the same equipments, okay? In fact, I've also given Lania the gift items, so that is something you can try to give her more bulk. Apparently it was speed based, so she goes first, but you use Phoenix as well and also cast the buff for Velika using a top skill and Fenrir's top skill. Basically that's the same skill rotation, okay? However, because Gelidus does reduce damage received, you are not gonna be able to one-hit KO him, well, unless you may use the Berserker Ring and the Celestial Accessory, which I previously had. So that may be something to consider because I'm not using that, I'm using a crit rate accessory. So I wasn't able to one-hit kill him with Velika's bottom skill, as you will see later on. Again, the block nullification is super useful because if your Gelidus blocks your Velika's damage, then you are in for a much longer run. And if you don't have Fenrir, I would strongly recommend you try to use some rubies to pull for him, okay? Just don't bankrupt yourself, but try to get him if you can. And of course, as you can see here, she does about 2 billion, which isn't able to one-hit KO him. I do have my Awaken skill ready, so that's very good. And he doesn't do too much damage in fact. And the Awaken skill definitely will kill him. I mean, it's insanely overkill. In fact, if you get your Awaken skill earlier by some means, you can just use the Awaken skill to kill him off. Yeah. Okay, so within 1 minute 30 seconds, you can clear each dungeon, which is really good. And I got a 6-star crystal here. I'm gonna show you guys one very important thing, and that is the guild buffs. For the guild buffs, you will want to have increased awakening gauge charge speed, and also I also have increased lethal damage and increased lethal rate and crit rate and magic attack increase. Okay, basically the others are all very offensive based. No crit damage here. Okay, yeah, and also for masteries, for special dungeons, I do have these. Counter rate. If you don't use Sig, you can use the block rate one instead. Okay, magic attack increase is important. Lethal damage increase. You can go for crit damage as well, and then crit rate at the top to max out to make sure Velika's crit rate is at 100%. Because Fenrir and the guild buff already provides 80% with her trait. That is about 100% lethal already. So just make sure that no matter what you do, crit and lethal rate has to be 100%. And with that, I've come to the end of this video. Stay tuned for more guides, especially for Freya and Truth's arena reviews. Thank you so much and see you!